Manchester United coughed up 15 million quid to sign Noussair Mazraoui from Bayern Munich. And Sun Sport's titan of tactics, Dean Scoggins, is here to tell us how the 26-year-old's arrival is going to kickstart Ten Hag's tactical revolution. Dino, there's 5 of them. What are they?
Well, it's not just this season that Ten Hag stopped wearing socks like you do. So that's the first thing. It's not the socks that have been the tactical switch for Ten Hag. But we need to look at what Mazraoui does differently to Wan-Bissaka, much better under pressure, why his introduction has allowed Ten Hag to play a proper 3-2-2-3 formation with a box in midfield, and how he's freeing up Casemiro to those positions, and then what he can do with Onana to actually bring the brilliance out of Onana, and then from that point of view, free up Man United's brilliant wingers.
Let's start at the very beginning. What is Mazraoui doing, or will he be doing, that's different to what Aaron Wan-Bissaka was doing?
Well, he'll go into midfield. Quite simply, we've seen inverted fullbacks all year, last year and the year before. It's not new. It's not a tactic that someone's invented all of a sudden, but Man United did not do it last year. It's such a relief to see something after 2 years of watching Ten Hag that you think he's coaching them on the training ground. It felt to me like they didn't have any sort of patterns of play or what they were doing with the ball. But basically what Mazraoui does, he leaves the right back berth, goes into midfield alongside Kobbie Mainoo. And that means Casemiro can free up to be a second number 10, and then they're much more comfortable in possession. Lots of teams play with this box in midfield, 2 and a 2. 2 defensive players, 2 attacking players. Mazraoui becomes that extra man.
So he's effectively doing what Rico Lewis does for Manchester City, sometimes Kyle Walker, what Trent is doing and does so well at Liverpool. Man United are just kind of catching up to the party. And were they not doing that before because Wan-Bissaka just wasn't capable, because he's not good enough on the ball or taking the ball on the turn?
Absolutely that. Not good enough on the ball, and they didn't trust him in central period. If he had the ball there and they lost it, he's just not good enough in transition. He needs to be in a position where he's safe, which is on the right-hand side. He hugged that touchline, crossed it to nobody most of the time. Sorry, West Ham fans, that will be what happens quite a lot. But Mazraoui, Ten Hag spoke about him in his first press conference. He talked about how comfortable he is in possession. He doesn't feel under pressure. It's not about pressure of 70,000 people around him. It's about 4 people around him in midfield.
And Aaron Wan-Bissaka is basically most well known, isn't he, for making recovery tackles?
Absolutely.
Often when
if a defender's got dirty shorts, then he's not a good defender.
yeah, but I think Bobby Moore was the original advocate of that. Right, why has Mazraoui's arrival then allowed Ten Hag to finally change his formation? Because for most people, last year, they were like, this bloke hasn't got a clue. What's he doing? What is he trying to get out of this team? Can he be flexible at all? He's finally able to.
He is, yeah. And it means basically that Kobbie Mainoo, we saw for England over the summer, he can play on his own in a single pivot in midfield. He's very comfortable in that position. But you have 3 defenders. So that's De Ligt, Martinez and Luke Shaw or Dalot, depending on how they end up. Then Mazraoui and Kobbie Mainoo will sit in front of him. That means Casemiro pushes into a number 10 position, which is where he set up 2 chances for Bruno on Saturday. Bruno being the other number 10. They keep their width with the 2 wingers, and then they have Xerxes, Højlund, whoever it is up front.
Yeah, so you mentioned about Casemiro. Then, do you feel he can play that? Is it sort of releasing him? He's finally giving him this new lease of life, and perhaps it's what he should be doing all along? Or how do you see that working?
Well, he's a top-class player. He played for top-class teams all through his life, you know. And those 2 passes to Bruno in that position were absolutely fantastic. Bruno should have scored twice, and you know. But my worry is his legs. You know, can he play that position all year when out of possession? They dropped Casemiro back into a midfield position. And when they were building up from goal kicks, Casemiro was almost like a right centre-back. And then when they attacked, he's expected to be the right 10. That's a lot of ground to cover for anybody, let alone the oldest player in their team. And so it's very, very difficult to do that role. He's a brilliant football player. Brilliant football player. He carried the ball more in this game than he has done previously. He got in more dangerous positions. And basically it was because Mazraoui was covering his midfield job, which then enabled him to be freed up in attack.
So what's the answer? Is Casemiro the answer there and he just has to somehow get fitter, or did they replace it?
I think the answer is that he probably can't play in all the European games and that he hopefully just plays in the Premier League games and the big games. But I think he will get found out against a more athletic and bigger midfield than Fulham.
Yeah, right. Well, it seems that Mazraoui, even his arrival, is doing quite a lot of heavy lifting all over the pitch, and somehow he's also going to help Ten Hag utilise Andre Onana properly as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Onana is still the untapped thing at Man United. He became a bit of a joke figure for some of the mistakes he made, but let's talk about him with the ball at his feet, right? He's a fantastic ball player. He's up there with Ederson and Alisson with the ball at his feet, and they're not using it. They're not playing out from the back. They get into this position. We had the ludicrous position where Maguire was taking goal kicks and passing it to Onana. Now that's
it comes to something, yeah.
But that's because Onana is better with the ball than Maguire. So therefore, if your goalkeeper's that good with the ball, then let him have the ball. So when they do it, they need to figure out a way where they're not just playing through the centre backs, running out of ideas, waiting for someone to beat their man one-on-one inside their own box, and then it ends up with Onana smacking it long. They have to get into a position where they've almost made the goalkeeper at the centre of the back three. They have De Ligt one side, Martinez the other, Onana with the ball. It could even be that they play it to Martinez or De Ligt, it comes back into Onana, and then Mazraoui has moved into that position in midfield and the ball gets played to him. There are lots of different ways to do it. Ipswich did it brilliantly against Liverpool. 4 or 5 ways of playing out of that position. We see Liverpool and City do it all the time. Arsenal are a little bit more direct because David Raya is such a fantastic long passer of the ball, and that's what Onana is. So if they can find a way where they give Onana space, 2, 3, 4 yards to play his pass, and then he's got Bruno, Casemiro, Rashford, Garnacho and Mazraoui to pass it to, he's going to pick one of them out. And you effectively create an overload because you've got one extra player, the goalkeeper.
Mazraoui's arrival, Dino, seems to have done an awful lot to unleash the capabilities of the other players in Manchester United's team. But what must Erik Ten Hag do to actually get the best out of him?
Well, he's got to start Garnacho. He's got to start Garnacho on the right-hand side, and then if it's Højlund or Xerxes up front, you've got that outlet on the right wing. Basically what that means is that if Casemiro's pushing into that inside 10 position and occupying that role, the left back can't just go out and mark Garnacho. So therefore the left winger has to be drawn back into that space. Therefore, Mazraoui moves into that inside right position. He's got nobody to mark going the other way. And so he's then freed up to do that midfield role. So pick Garnacho. I don't understand why he wasn't picked in the first game. Maybe he was injured. We'll let him off. But he's got to play 1v1, high intensity, push that fullback right the way back and double up on him. You've got to double up on him if you play against him. And then we might see the best out of Xerxes and Højlund in the centre-forward position as well. So you've got Bruno and Casemiro as ball play in 10s. You've got Kobbie Mainoo and Mazraoui giving them the ball and giving the ball to those wingers. Man United could be quite exciting this season. They're not quite there yet, but this really is a step in the right direction. And we haven't seen that for quite a long time.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're effectively saying that Manchester United should start doing what Liverpool and Man City have been doing to teams for so long, which is simply just peg them back through fear of all of the attacking ability in not just their attackers and their midfielders, but also some of their defence too.
Yeah, absolutely. And fullbacks are probably the most talked about and arguably the most important roles in each team. Are you playing with 5 at the back, or are you actually playing with 3 at the back because your fullbacks are so good at going the other way? Or are you playing 4 at the back, which becomes then 3 at the back because Mazraoui is going into midfield? So, yeah, they've waited a long time. They need Luke Shaw back as well. I'm a fan of Dalot, unlike some United fans. I think he does quite a good job. But if Luke Shaw gives the balance on the left and Mazraoui can do that role pushing into midfield, we might actually see a proper Man United team this year.
Right, just quickly then, one man who will be a big part of that, Joshua Xerxes. Will he or won't he play ahead of Højlund? Yes or no? What will Xerxes do for Man United this season?
Well, physicality. We saw straight away he's a big guy, and so he's going to pen people back, a la Haaland. You know, so I'm not saying for a minute he's as good as Haaland. So let's get there straight away. Let's get that in there straight away.
That'll be
but
clipped
yeah,
up.
absolutely. But Garnacho one side, you know, Rashford or Ahmad the other side. But Xerxes provides that presence in the box against teams who are going to attack United. Højlund's a very good option, obviously pace in behind. But Xerxes straight away looked like a great hold-up guy. And then for his goal, it was Casemiro again in that inside right position, freed up by Mazraoui. It gets crossed in, Xerxes on the end of it. And if all of a sudden Man United have got that option as well as the counter-attack, then they'll look a dangerous side.